I think I might be the only person who takes this podcast seriously. Did you see that? I clapped. You guys did nothing. I put this thing together.
Hey, we all validate your existence.
I am.
You're all a bunch of idiots.
And welcome to the show. This is episode 2 of Weebin. I'm your host, Patrick D, aka Patrick.
I'm your co-host, Billy.
I'm Dan, resident noob.
I'm the girl. And
The name was girl.
I'm Josh.
Hey, and now we've introduced ourselves. Here's a little if you're new to the show, here's a little bio. We talk about anime and how it shouldn't exist and all weeb should be shot. I wanted to start with a little segment. Why did you guys decide to stick with anime after your first one?
The big anime titties.
Now I have boiled it down to two possible reasons,
And only those two.
and only those two, just for simplicity's sake.
I was kidding.
So, is it the story or the feeling you got from anime?
With the feeling in my pants.
Josh, you're editing this. I don't know why.
this is already a great podcast. I actually really like this episode.
It sucks. Billy, go.
Sorry.
Okay, so our two choices are story or feeling,
Story
right?
or feeling?
Okay, well, I'll say that the first couple animes I watched, I definitely fell off of, and there was like a year-long gap between them, so I'm going to say that it was like the feeling of a certain anime that actually drew me back into the whole thing.
Alright.
Because there are some great stories that I am not going to watch because I'm just not interested in them.
Yeah,
I feel
no, I
like.
get
So I
you.
think it really needs to click with me before I'm able to, like, you know, invest my own energy into watching it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Dan?
Dan?
Oh, hey. How's it going? It's me, Dan,
Shut the fuck up and answer.
resident noob. Well, dude, I've only watched 2 full animes.
Well, what
now.
made you stick with them?
I didn't stick with them.
Oh, what?
The first one was Attack on Titan.
Then get off my
which-
podcast.
First one was Attack on Titan. Alright, and that was really cool. I really liked the story about that. But I didn't get sucked into anime afterwards. I don't know, I just fell off it. I was like, alright, cool, done. On to the next thing in my life.
Alright.
And
Glad
then,
we're now finding out that you hate anime.
No, because I love that show. I don't know, there's nothing that...
I hate the people
Some
who
story.
like
Kept you
anime.
going.
Well, that was story. But then, I'm following Anne's plan to weebify an individual. So I watched One Punch Man in its entirety.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. Since last episode, and loved it. Fell in love with it. I was like, this is amazing.
Dan, let me cut you off because we have a whole segment of this and you're really fucking it up.
Alright, we'll get to that then. But what I'm saying is that story is... I mean, that's not story-centric. That's definitely more anti-story. It's kind of just, like, against all the story tropes.
Yeah.
And it just made me
Yeah.
feel really, really good.
Pick it the fuck up.
I was saying One Punch Man was more feeling.
And cut him off.
And now I want to watch more. I want to start that.
I'm still watching anime because really it's all I have.
all you got going for you.
Yeah.
But if you had to pick one of my pre-built answers.
I would say story because a lot of like the stories you see in anime is like, I feel like it's so different than what is typical for like shows, like plot lines and shows in the West, that it's just really refreshing because it's like, I don't know, there's a lot of passion in some of these stories, and then there's a lot of not passion, which makes it funny.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I
exactly.
like, yeah,
I
it's
feel
just
that.
it's just different. They have different things.
I like anime for the lack of passion.
No, here's the thing.
You really
like,
tell the creators, don't give a shit.
in the West, we do plots differently. Like a red herring in a plot in the West is going to be just like a red herring, maybe for like one episode to turn the events. A red herring in an anime is literally a show. It leans literally on that red herring. Is that the right
No,
thing?
but we're gonna move on.
Okay.
Do you mean red herring or plot twist? Because
No,
like,
red herring, like the item that like makes like
Yeah, that
that's
draws,
in there, the
that draws
furniture.
your attention
Is
away.
that
Right.
like a false clue?
Yeah, or
Yeah.
something like that.
Yeah.
Like I
Thanks,
You know
Scooby-Doo
what?
Adventures or whatever.
listen, kids. I didn't go to
mentally kids.
school,
Ever.
so I don't know.
Third grade.
Guys, so
I
far
don't know
Billy is the
things.
only one following the fucking rules. It's a simple question. Josh,
I'm
please.
sorry.
Feelings.
One word answer. We're out of time.
No, for me it was the feelings. I was talking about last episode about Assassination Classroom. It has that has inspired
Nice
me
throwback. Plug to our own show.
to. Yeah, check out Weebin podcast.
You like this episode? See the first episode that you probably already watched.
Yeah, it's the feelings of I was really inspired to like be a really shitty teacher.
I want people to kill me.
No, it's great, and like there's a lot of relatability to a lot of different shows, and it's a good time. So that brings us to our first segment.
What? Oh, fuck me, right?
Yeah.
Am I not allowed to answer?
Why do you stick with anime?
Thank you for asking me, Billy.
All right, Josh, what was your
Good
segment?
friend. For me, not that anyone asked, but I would say feeling would definitely be the reason I stuck with anime. Because most of the anime I watch doesn't even have a good story. It's just a bunch of like random garbage thrown together. My favorite anime is just
Kiss X Sis.
Kiss X Sis.
No, it's
No. Hold on. No. What is it called? Barakamon. Where, I mean, it has a story, but it's not really the story that draws you in. It's the environment and the just the feelings you
yeah,
get.
it's a feel
watching
good
it.
story.
Yeah, it's a
Is
feel
what I
good.
would call it. It's feel good anime.
All right, now that I have given my thoughts, Josh,
What about Tyler and Pinky?
I give you my permission.
We never
Hey,
introduced the
you
couch
cut
cast.
me off. You're gonna let them. Okay.
They say keep going.
Okay.
All right, Josh, your turn.
So our first segment for this episode, it's We Be Feeling Weeby Edition. We're talking about what anime is.
Is this our life? Is this what we're gonna be doing now?
Yeah.
Commit to this breed.
We're gonna have shirts. It's gonna be great.
You think we're gonna be
Merch is on its way.
Should I tell my parents about my funeral now or just wait?
Yeah, it won't be a funeral. You're gonna go missing.
Oh,
Like,
that's
our
fair.
fans are gonna get
The
you.
city will
We're gonna
bury
put
you
up
for
some
free if they
posters.
can't identify your body.
They're gonna be like, take off
I
the
stole
girl.
that from the internet. No
Don't
credit
trust
given to
it.
me.
All right.
All right. So, what anime has caused a strong emotional reaction for you guys? Let me start with Patrick.
Ah, fuck. So, for me, I'd say You're Lying, April. As I mentioned in the first episode, probably. It's about music. It's about a kid who can't hear his own music because his mother is a crazy, crazy lady. And so he always feels like he's drowning when he's playing the piano. And so as the thing progresses, like he meets this girl and she's like obsessed with him. She's like, I want to play with you because she's a violinist. She wants to play with him as the, what is it, composer or what the, when you have a duet partner on the piano.
Accompaniment.
Yes,
Yeah. The accompanist.
Yes. Anyway, so
Who could also be the composer?
it
I don't
gets
know.
it gets pretty sad. It gets pretty sad. Don't want to spoil anything, but it gets fucking sad. And that left me dead inside for about 3 days, and then about 3 years afterwards. Still trying to recover.
That's
intense.
okay, Patrick. That's okay.
So, as I mentioned in the previous episode, I like really, really dark or sad animes. I'm also going to rehash episode that I briefly mentioned show that I briefly mentioned last episode because it probably has had the strongest emotional reaction from me, and that is a show called Plastic Memories, which essentially, without spoiling too much, imagine a repo man who has to come and get back a product for whatever reason. Maybe it's out of date, maybe people aren't paying for it. Imagine what happens when that product is something very, very close to you. Imagine if it's, for instance, a child or something like that. Imagine if you adopted a child, for instance, and then, for whatever reason, they had to take it back. And so it pretty quickly delves into some very sad, serious topics. and I loved every second of it, and it was really good. And that was one of the first ones where I was just like, I like stuff that's not so happy-go-lucky, things that make me feel again.
I like the torture.
Yeah.
Me. I'm dead inside.
Well, out of the 2 shows I've watched,
No.
quick answer, I guess, Attack on Titan. Those Titans scared the shit out of me.
Oh yeah.
All right,
Yeah.
I mean, I was very new to anime, and then I just see these really, really giant, naked, smiling freakazoids just demolishing towns and eating people. And what really got to me was that they didn't need to eat people to survive; they just did it.
No, yeah, they just come in
And
waves.
they, one of the reasons they just looked scary as shit, but another reason they scared the shit out of me was because they kind of were this embodiment of pure evil. There's no reason to do this, but they just do it because just evil.
What's crazy is that they could have done that at any time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, and
What-
they just decided.
What creeps me out about them actually is like how like they have sort of somewhat of a lack of control of their like body
Yeah.
and stuff like
Some-
that. And like I
they're-
love
yeah,
it.
they got,
like
Because
some attacks.
They're
the way
they're
they-
like noodle people.
The way
Yeah.
they move is very
It's also really
infant-like
creepy.
almost.
Yeah.
Like a toddler learning how to walk. And
Right.
like it's creepy because there's like a humanity there that you don't really think about, like, which is like discovering how to walk and stuff like that. And like then it reminds you of like how when you're as children are basically psychopaths.
Yeah.
Like I would pull on my neighbor's cat's tail all the time and I feel so bad now when I think about it.
Jesus.
I heard.
I was like, the cat likes it.
that's why he screams and bites me.
Yeah.
What kind of made me think about the
psychopath,
question of, do we all start out evil or do we all start out good and then evil
Right.
corrupts us?
Right.
Or do we start out evil and then
Dude.
we learn how to be
100%, at least for me, I started off evil. Like,
Oh, we don't.
like that poor neighbor's
I
cat.
don't think you've actually ever learned good yet.
Well, we'll see.
yeah.
Learn to bury it.
Yeah.
That's her story arc this season. Mine's to become a weeb. Hers is to
Yeah.
feel something other
Be
than
more
evil
evil.
and
Yeah.
Or
And
nihilism.
sociopathic
Wait a
journey,
minute.
episode 1.
This
Right.
hurts people. And it hurts me when I do it to
feels
myself.
good.
Yeah.
I like it.
For me, an emotional anime would be an anime movie. It's just a movie that's an anime. Wolf Children. Sorry, I thought it was a pretty simple explanation, but I was like, maybe I should explain it for the people like me. Okay. No, it was Wolf Children, which is like basically like a mom trying to learn how to, like, her husband died, who was like
A wolf.
a werewolf, not a wolf. It wasn't bestiality. He was a werewolf, and the children are werewolves. But he died he died really early on in the relationship. So she like knows nothing about like raising them and everything. And it's just like this very like cute yet like raw like slice of life like movie about them, how like they cope with that, and like how certain characters feel more wolf-like or they'll feel more childlike, and they'll
Is
just
this just furry propaganda?
no. And then they're just no. It's really sad at the end because like at the end, well, hold on, spoiler territory. Never mind. But it's sad because there's raw emotions there, and anything that happens with parents, whether it's just extreme emotions or like anything else, it gets me. I think I might have issues, but still.
Yeah,
I think we covered that.
Yeah.
Pretty well.
my dad left for cigarettes too.
The greatest anime of all time, Dilbert. Dilbert actually has the comic, you know the comic in the Sunday newspaper? Yeah, that.
I'm gonna laugh along too. I know what you guys
They
are
have
talking about.
they have a TV show.
I don't
It's a
know.
comic strip in a newspaper.
Yeah,
And
Sunday
it sucks.
newspaper.
Like,
No, but they have a TV show, and like the
they
dad.
did?
Yeah, the dad. They went over why Dilbert doesn't have a dad, and his dad saw an all-you-can-eat buffet, and he says, "Huh, we'll see about that," and he just stayed there.
Dude, I
so
was
he's
a
still
Calvin and
eating to
Hobbes
Yeah.
this
kid.
day.
I know nothing about this guy.
Calvin and Hobbes and Far Side Gallery.
Yeah, and Bazooka
So it's
Joe,
like, well, okay.
which was just like
I
one frame.
guarantee you,
Yeah.
you've seen the dog with glasses. He's like, he's like pumpkin shaped, has like little ears and like glasses, and then Dilbert has like the tie that goes in like the thing.
Dan, don't you have a laptop right in front of you? You could just Google search
Well,
Dilbert.
Welcome back to
Anyhow.
the Dilbert podcast.
For those who are new to
I just think
anime,
Dilbert is missing
Is that
out.
Dilbert?
yeah.
Yeah.
For those who are new to anime, there are some animes that are just better than others. That would be King
Oh,
of the
that
Hill,
guy.
Corey in the
Dilbert,
house.
Corey in the House, Seinfeld.
Okay.
Yeah. All right.
And
B
Avatar,
movie.
the
Yeah,
last
B movie.
Airbender.
There's no anime hot take. Okay.
James Cameron.
What do you got, Josh?
Oh my god. The one thing that gave me a strong emotional reaction was Paranoia Agent, actually.
Oh, that one's
That was-
spooky. Yeah.
Yeah. It wasn't a like a sadness or like a like kind of motivated kind of emotion. It was more of a kind of creepy like commentary on like,
That
how we
show-
live our double lives.
That show has a very strong suspense element to it also. Like,
Yeah,
I remember
yeah.
seeing that show on Adult Swim when it briefly aired.
Yeah.
And I was probably like, 10 or 11, and that was one of the things that made me think, like, the TV gets scary after dark, because, like, it came on, I was like, what is happening?
Holy shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, and,
Even just the intro to that, it's like people falling through the air. The intro segment to the show is people falling through the air and just laughing while facing the camera, breaking the fourth wall.
it's
and
super weird.
It just like really
It's-
puts you on edge, and there's
Yeah,
like
it's
happy
very
music
off-putting.
playing, and you're like, this is not right. Whatever's
The
happening.
juxtaposition is weird. And quick rundown of the show. It's about this kid who's he's murdering people, right?
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah.
There's I don't know if that's the main plot though. It seems to be just a recurring character of like from what I saw of it, I haven't seen the whole show, but it was about like two detectives trying to track down the killer.
Yeah.
But it also had like branching off segments of like delving into the lives of other people. So
Yeah, it's
A little bit of slice of life, a little bit of murder there.
yeah.
true crime.
It also had boobs in it.
Oh wow!
I don't remember the
yay.
boobs.
There's boobs in that show. Pretty
Really,
positive.
Josh, you of all people didn't remember the boobs.
I mean,
Oh,
it's
sure.
yeah, all right.
What's bigger, an anime character's eyes or their boobs?
Always
Depends
the
on the
boobs.
age. If they're 14.
Does
definitely
it?
boobs.
Anyway, Josh, you had something else? I had something else.
No, I'm good.
There was something I didn't mention because I'm a fucking idiot, can't read. So there was an anime movie that I actually watched with Billy. It was the deaf girl one, Silent Voice.
Mhm.
I meant to talk about that one, but I didn't read two lines below.
That's like in the top 10 animes on my anime list.
Yeah,
isn't it
that's
also.
really fucking
Yeah.
good. But I think bullying is one of the topics that, like, especially in that one, but that sometimes comes up in animes that can really like tug at your heartstrings. Especially with that one. So it's about this deaf girl who essentially is just bullied by all her classmates, and has to change schools when she's real young. And then we have the main character who
is a bully.
It was the
as a
bully
child, yeah.
as a kid, and then it all got turned around back on him. Like everything got blamed on this kid, even though the whole class was doing the bullying. Like this kid is totally
Well, he was like breaking hearing aids and stuff. Like he was doing
He
some
was
serious
doing
bullying for it.
but so was everyone
Too
else
expensive.
at
I don't-
different points.
Yeah.
And
Sounds
then
good.
they blamed everything on him when it was like he was definitely to blame.
I think
But
one
they
of the
didn't
main
take
things
accountability.
was
Yeah,
that
none of the rest of them took any accountability.
when
That was
she
the point.
kind of got popular off of bullying her a little bit, so when all the other kids were kind of being like, oh wow, we're kind of being dicks, he was still like, haha, why aren't you still making fun of her? And then like he stuck with it for like just a little bit longer, and so everyone was like, oh, he's a fucking asshole.
Yeah.
So-
And,
It seems like it's kind of like.
and so by the way, this whole movie, this is all a flashback to the past. The whole movie is set in the present now, where it's a few years later.
Okay, but it sounds like it's almost like two visual points of like how bullying affects other people. Like there's a girl who is the main victim here, but then the other bully was also a victim by like intense peer pressure.
Yeah.
And he never could escape that because it was blamed on him afterwards. He was also the scapegoat.
Yeah. So when it does cut to modern day, you see the guy is totally isolated, doesn't have any friends left because
Is there what anime is this again? I didn't remember.
a silent voice.
A silent voice.
Koe no Katachi.
Oh,
Cut that part out.
Why?
I don't know if that was that even the
great.
right one. Is that even?
It's probably
It is
riddled
right.
with
Okay.
mispronunciations.
No. Listen, my Japanese is flawless. Fuck
Listen
you.
here, I don't know a single thing about Japanese or its culture. I've been given a script. I don't watch anime.
Please bring food.
Yeah.
In conclusion, bullying is bad. All right, now to our next segment, which Dan already ruined. It's a transition
what I do.
segment. We're calling it Dan Progress.
That's it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Dan,
Yeah.
you are our experiment
DP.
here.
Yeah.
So Dan,
Sure. Yeah.
how's your progress?
Oh wait, before we go into that, Anne, briefly give a rundown on your 3-step program.
Okay,
to
so
identify someone.
really quick rundown. Basically, you give someone something mainstream and funny to watch so that they can be like, this is okay for me to watch, and it's funny, so it's not too heavy. Then you give them something that is mainstream but more of a thriller, such as Death Note or something like that. And then you give them something that has more anime tropes in it, but it's not like awful. It's just like it's still really good. I mean, not all anime is awful. I'm just saying the tropes are not like overwhelming.
Are you talking
And
about
then-
like a
and then-
Konosuba
All
something,
anime is
or is that
awful.
too heavy?
What?
Are you talking about like a Konosuba kind of thing, or would that one be too far?
I don't know
too
that
far
one.
gone?
Konosuba is more like satire. Isn't
Yeah.
It? Yeah.
Well, it's
great.
hilarious.
Unless-
Yeah.
So funny.
It's entirely possible that. Well, I don't know how to pronounce things, so you might be pronouncing it right. And what I've seen,
It's called God's Gift to This Wonderful World.
oh no, I've
I
never seen
think.
it.
Okay.
I don't watch things with the word
Fabulous
God
show.
in it.
I'll look it up
Hilarious.
later.
Wonderful.
Hilarious.
Yeah.
Well, I took the first step and finished One Punch Man.
Oh yeah.
Hysterical.
How many
I'm
days
so
did it take you to finish it?
3.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Sounds
About right.
Yeah. Once I got in it, I was like, okay.
Is that one 12 or is that 22?
12.
Okay.
And the first couple episodes, I was like, how are they going to keep this going?
That is like
That's the trick of
the
anime.
serious
right?
problem that people
Yeah.
see. Like, how can I? You're telling me he can kill things in one punch? How are they going to make a series out of that? That's not going to be funny.
Right, it's like it's always going to be this big build up, and then you just hit them in one punch, and boom. Oh,
One
what's gonna
joke.
happen?
Oh yeah. Well.
Yeah, and then the association came in, and
Sorry,
I was
I'm
like,
angry.
this got interesting. Once they got into the whole like hero for hire or
You
the
watched it for the plot.
no, but it's what kept the momentum going. Oh god, why am I even talking?
So you liked it?
Yeah, I loved it. I fell in
Wow.
love with it and wanted to.
Wow, that's
Wow.
interesting.
So,
It
what
worked.
Didn't see that coming.
What are your next steps? Do you think?
Well, I don't know. The next step is to hit something a little bit more mainstream, but harder, more in.
Yeah, hit him hard.
Do you have any ideas on what? Are you
Well-
going to stick with Anne's plan, or are you
By
going
the-
And
to
suggests
take
Death
our
Note.
Yeah, Death Note. By the way, listeners, tell us your opinions on this. During like the second act of Death Note, should you stop there or should you just keep going through the third act?
Oh, that's a big problem with some
Yeah.
animes, like Sword Art Online. It's like, do you want to watch the whole show, or do you want to just take that good season
Watch the
and,
good part.
and
Yeah.
walk away?
Because it's still a really good show, but I gotta say, there's some parts that are more rich than others, and that's
Yeah.
the best I can do while still being vague.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
And yeah. I know what you're talking
I'm
about.
committed to the plan.
Yeah, do it.
It's still a great show.
That one's probably gonna take you a little bit longer than 3 days. Just to give you a heads up, but it's so good.
Is that one 24 episodes? That
26, I think.
One? Okay, yeah.
Let me check.
And there's like 3 acts.
Pretty
kind
much.
of.
Yeah. Pretty much.
Death Note episode.
All I know about it is there is the god of death or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A death
You know
god.
what?
Death
You know.
God.
You know the idea of it.
So
There's-
you're gonna want to go onto
And some
Netflix,
super
and they've got a
genius.
live adaptation with the Green Goblin in it.
Green Goblin.
Willem Dafoe. Looks like him for
Wait a minute, guys.
I forget his name.
I actually did watch the live action at one point. I think it was at
Oh
your
no,
house.
you
Okay.
did?
Oh, wait.
Patrick's house.
Oh wait, did we watch that at my house? I think.
No, it was, yeah, you're right. It was
Yeah.
Will's house.
Oh god, that was.
I've never seen
holy
that
shit.
garbage.
That was a fever
Yo.
dream. Like.
There's 37 episodes. I probably was remembering how many that it was alright for. Anyhow, you watched that? You watched the live action and you didn't want to kill yourself? You're still here?
No, I did. I tried. I just failed.
No, we. While watching it, we definitely all were like,
Dude, I tried
this
watching
isn't
that.
great, but it's only an hour and a half, so it's like.
As soon as it started, like, westernizing it with, like, high school and stuff and, like cheerleaders and things, I was just like, I cannot do this.
Yeah,
It's like they're not sticking to the heart of the actual show.
I don't usually want to punch people in the face, but that lead actor made me want to punch him in the face.
Dude,
Yeah.
and it's like, okay,
Just like,
let me
oh, man,
tell you
you are
something.
Bad.
Let me tell you something, buddy. That main act, okay, in the real anime, you want to punch the main character in the face, but for a different reason. Out of respect.
Okay.
This guy, you want to punch him in the face because he's wrong.
He's just a bad man.
Yeah. But,
Yeah,
like,
it was bad.
it just, like, they took away, like, basically the main character's entire essence. Like, without getting, I mean, it's not really a spoiler or anything, but, like,
I haven't seen it, so but I
okay.
don't really care.
the whole thing about Light is that he's popular and like a perfect student basically, yet he does these things. The live action, he's like a bullied like school shooter and it's the worst.
Jesus.
And it's just like, dude, what the hell, this is not the anime that I loved.
One of
Yeah,
the.
what also was, may I?
Sure, I
some-
guess.
No, what was weird
Pretty soon here.
was that it seemed like they were trying to force these anime tropes and these anime styles
Into a
live
westernized
action,
movie.
and it didn't translate at all. It was really forced, and it's just like it wasn't the right context.
And believe me, you ever see an anime become live action, you run.
Yeah.
You do. You just expect the same thing almost.
Well, just things were
unless
super
there's something.
exaggerated.
We should have an
Yeah.
episode about live adaptation.
Is there
Yeah,
is there
we're going
any
to.
live action that's good, Patch?
I saw the first episode of the Erased series they made. Now, granted, they made it in Japan, so maybe like they didn't westernize it, but like from what I saw, it was pretty damn good.
The Japanese version of Death Note?
Yeah, or no, Erased.
Oh,
is the show.
that's a show.
That show
They-
honestly could be a live action show.
Yeah.
I feel like it. I feel like
Which is
it
wh-
probably
which is
did
why
work
it
a lot
is.
better as a anime, but like the
Yeah, for sure.
general storyline, like it wasn't too out of this world.
Yeah.
So I feel like they just could have done it live action
Yeah.
if they had decided to do that first.
So, okay, Japan does their live action casting, or I haven't seen any of the like other like shows or movies they've done like with people, real people, before. So maybe this is bad, but I watched like the live
Everything's
action.
censored.
I love the live action, live action. For that one anime with like the gambling girl at that like rich school and like she has a gambling problem, but it's-
Kakagurvi or whatever?
yeah, I watched live action for that, and I was just like, I was really distracted by the fact that they casted like the main like antagonist with she has a dead tooth, and it was like, whoa, that is so weird that they're okay with that. Like, I guess props to them, but I'm really distracted right
Oh,
now.
that she has like a physical flaw, you mean? Like
Like an actual dead tooth,
yeah.
and it's like, whoa.
That is always interesting when you see a character with like a physical flaw like that, because in Western society,
Yeah.
like you need to get every single tooth capped, and it's going to cost
Everything's
$8,000 per
photoshopped.
tooth. Like, have you seen George Clooney's teeth? They're fabulous, but like he was not born like that. Like that's Maybelline. Like he had to make that happen to give him more screen appeal.
All right.
Anywho, we should definitely cover live adaptation.
we should.
Yeah,
like
absolutely.
it's a
We're going to.
segment in an episode in
So-
the future.
I'm
Yeah.
gonna go watch Death Note. I think that's the one I'm gonna stick with. Go with that, and then I don't know what you guys have for me to hit me right in the face to fuck me up after that.
Oh, I got some stuff.
The third
Yeah,
stage of
we'll think
Ant's
of
plan.
something.
Oh yeah.
Let's resume.
We got some
Prison
stuff.
school.
Oh god, no. We wanted
So
Yeah.
to
far,
be excited about it.
so far it's working. All right.
Yeah.
I'm digging it, and I want to watch more.
It's good to hear.
I'm trying to think of like what were some of my other like first animes. It's been so long, you know. And I'm trying to think of what else like I could suggest to you. You guys go ahead. Do the bits.
We got things. We got Billy. Go ahead. You got it.
Okay, so we're actually moving topics around right now, so we're going to do our other transitional segment, 20 seconds to come up with an original anime.
Wait, why are we doing that one first?
Because the other thing has
You
a
didn't
good
tell
segue.
me.
We told you like 11 times.
I'm not prepared.
Okay.
Don't worry, I'm not prepared either. It's gonna
Do you
be
want
bad.
to do that one?
No,
Okay.
just go ahead.
So the idea of this segment is we're going to all sit down and take 20 seconds to come up with an original anime that is all our own.
A
Do you want
question.
to go first?
No,
or
question here. Are we creating it together or are we doing our each individual animes?
Each individual.
Okay.
Okay. So
But
for
if
instance,
someone gets stalled on a thing, you can pick up where they left off.
yeah. So I'll go first because I had one a little bit prepped. So it's about a man works at a restaurant, keeps running into this girl all over town. She's like a softball player at a school or something. And so they end up hitting it off really well. And by the end of the first episode, one of her friends comes up to the man, and then the girl's just like, "Hey, you know she's like 13, right?" And it just zooms in on the character, and he goes, "Yeah, I know." And then it cuts straight into the outro, and the rest of the story is just following this closeted pedophile while he comes to grips with actually liking like a Lolicon-esque character.
No, we said it can't be based on your real life, Billy.
Okay, well, letting that brush off me.
Spicy.
Does anyone else have one that they
I've got
can think
one.
of? Okay.
It's called Real Housewives of Costco, and so it follows. It's a slice of life comedy that follows a new mom who is basically fighting off the like trying to live through this like etiquette of momhood. Like so at Costco, like people who don't drive their carts fast enough, stuff like that. People who ride in the wrong lane. When you have to go for the last cereal box, little stuff like that. But it's dramatic. It's more like Dragon Ball Z. In that fashion, they got battles, they got fights.
I think your 20 seconds is up.
So wait, it's a fighting show all around shopping and like securing the bag of Cheerios or whatever.
It's a wholesome show about becoming a new mother,
Nice.
but a little exaggerated.
Nice. All
Are
right.
they all like pregnant, dealing with newborn kids? Like, what do you mean becoming a mother?
Like the main character is a new mother.
All right, your 20 seconds are up. I'm out. Josh.
All right. How about this? It's based in Tokyo, right? And there's and
The
there's
Tokyo?
a giant lizard that comes in.
Okay. Whoa. I've
And-
heard of this one.
and- No. This is totally original.
Okay.
Yeah. This is
The Frill Lizard.
His name? Godzilla.
No.
All right, your 20 seconds is up.
Wait. Do I?
No.
You go to side? Oh
No.
man.
Was it good?
It was.
Was your anime going to be
guys.
good?
Guys, I got one. It's perfect. It's called One Kick Guy. And basically, he goes around, he can kick anyone, and then they explode.
Nice. Okay, I got another one. So it's basically there are these things called the Phoenix cubes, and if there's 7 of them and they're scattered all around the world, and if you unite them, then you get a wish.
No!
All right, I'll just rip it off. All right, mine's called Birth Note.
You write down a name and the baby is born.
Yep.
Oh wait, you write down the name of somebody and then they have a kid.
Yeah, they get pregnant.
And so you
have
can
a
just
kid
write the same
right away.
person's name like 11 times, and then it's stuck with 11 kids. And they're like, "Fuck, what happened?"
You know what?
on
You
the
coulda-
news.
I love it because you don't watch anime, so your ideas are actually original. Because like so many people make the life note joke, but you did birth note, and that's so much better.
That's amazing. It's like on the news, like we have a world population crisis. Ship them all to Mars.
Someone's impregnating our woman.
So
It's an atrocious.
the Holy Ghost is making his rounds. These people are giving birth for no apparent
We
reason.
call it the Mary Joseph effect.
But so, without ripping off real shows, do Josh, Patrick, Dan, do you guys have any real ideas that aren't
Oh
shit?
boy.
Okay.
Um,
Dan, if you had to think of just a good show, that could be an anime.
what might be funny is following the life of what's his name? How do you pronounce it? Dionysus. the Greek god.
Oh,
just
yeah,
like
okay.
celebration
wine
and wine.
and pleasure, and
Yeah.
just like
The
following
hedonism
his
god?
antics.
Yeah.
That would be
That would be
18
awesome.
plus.
That would be
Yeah.
pretty good.
Let me
yeah.
tell you.
Great show.
Oh yeah, no, it'd be filthy. But
Yeah.
Would he be the main character, or would it be a side character living under like the god of hedonism, just like his assistant? Like, we need more lube, and like he's trying to as much lube as he can, like over the course of an episode. See, like this could actually come together.
I was thinking it might be like a buddy
of your
cop
people don't
movie,
like you.
but with like party throwers, like a Van Wilder type.
Okay, all right,
That'd be sweet.
all right.
Oh god. Listen up, anime studios.
Yeah,
We're,
Kanakawa video. We're coming
yeah.
for you. We got notes prepared.
None
Don't
of
we
us
have
have
to-
jobs.
don't we have to make
We
it a
got
manga
things.
We'll write
You
it
know-
as a manga.
Oh yeah,
pitch it.
we can't end it.
Oh, yeah, that's
we
right.
have to.
If I
have
could,
it read
if I
manga.
could be serious though for a real actual idea, I think it'd
Dude,
be
that
really.
was a real action.
No.
Hold on. I was talking about me because my idea was complete garbage. A real actual idea though that I've had for like 1 minute is that like maybe like an anime about like a really shy girl who like feels like she doesn't have the balls to like do anything, and like maybe she makes a pact with the devil and is like, hey, I want to give away my like fear and stuff like that, like I just want it completely gone, I want my anxiety gone, and her basically becoming like this psychopath because she doesn't have fear anymore.
Sounds like Stone
They made
Cat.
that. Yeah.
What is that,
It's
Stone
called-
Cat?
Yeah, it's hentaioji to.
Wait, it's hentai?
What I neko? No, hentai means pervert in Japanese, so it's called the Pervert Prince and the Stony Cat.
And essentially, you make a wish on the Stony Cat, and you say like, "I really wish." What happens is the guy says like, "I really wish I wasn't such a pervert all the time," or something, right? He wanted to give away all of his lust, and so the thing is,
Oh,
it
no. Is this a
redistributes
harem?
it to somebody else, and so like a classmate all of a sudden is just like she's really apathetic, and she's just saying this really raunchy stuff to him all the time. So it's
guess
essentially redistributing.
no matter what you
Stuff like
come
that.
up with, there's
Yeah.
already an anime for it.
Granted, I don't think any of that was true, and I think you only watched about an episode of it. But
That's
good,
probably right.
good attempt. That was one of my favorite animes when I first
You
started
probably should have
watching.
explained it.
No, you did it. You hit the nail on something.
The nail on the side.
Anyway, let's move on from this godforsaken topic.
Yeah.
Billy, you want to intro the next one?
Okay, so this is my bit. Basically, the bit is called Best Anime Side Bitch. And the only note we have under it is so I want to just go around, and the point of this, we're not coming up with what they call a waifu. We're coming up with a character who is...
Waifu?
A waifu is essentially like your dream girl of anime.
Oh, okay.
Like your preferred,
Gotcha.
if you could put anyone in the real world.
Mm-hmm.
But so we're trying to come up with a character who is they can either be a main
Weirdo.
they can either be a main character or they can be a side character, but they need to just essentially be ignored by a lot of people. There's a lot of play we can do with this. So would anyone like to start? Because I think I've got an
I'd
idea.
like to start.
Okay.
I think one of the best side characters is Ball's Chin Kid from One Punch Man. Dude, that kid is awesome.
He did not give a fuck about that crab man.
Hey, he only cared about his soccer ball.
Yeah. Dude,
God.
One Punch Man would have never existed without that kid.
Oh. You convinced him to be a hero.
Yeah.
He really spurred on the entire show.
Yeah.
Okay.
And you had one?
No.
What? You raised your hand.
I did, and then I realized that I wasn't listening to the real question.
What?
So one moment.
No, I think Josh just answered it wrong.
So
What was
best side character, they can be part of the main storyline, or they could be, their own.
A bit.
weird-
So
Character
actual
or
good
whatever.
character that is part of the like either a
Who
sideline
didn't
character
turn their
basically.
fucking sound off, Billy?
I don't think that was me.
That was your vibrating.
Wasn't me. I don't have friends.
Yeah, I don't think that was me.
I think that was Billy.
you.
Could have been Josh.
me.
Okay.
Josh, be
Anywho,
I
quiet.
swear to God.
sorry, I'm so popular.
Yeah. Someone else go before me.
Dick.
Yeah, Billy, you go. Since
You
your phone
guys
vibrated.
suck at this fucking
Listen,
thing.
Dude,
no.
I was thinking of other things.
Okay, listen up, fucko. Best side character, the mom from Erased.
Ooh.
She's the coolest fucking lady. She's a badass bitch. I want her to be my mom. Sorry, mom, if you're listening. Please don't listen.
No, I get that. Like she was,
Listen. Oh wait, it was the first episode where she dies. Isn't it?
You
spoilers,
it.
I've never
No,
seen that.
okay. So
My
there's
first
time
episode
travel
isn't
involved.
spoilers.
It's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anywho,
That's not spoiling anything.
she's
but
an amazing
she's
character.
Amazing. The lips bother the shit out of me though. The character model,
I gotta watch this show now.
it's really good. That's one of the more serious ones where you wanna.
Maybe third tier. Or...
That might be actually second tier.
Oh.
Yeah, and it's shorter than Death
for
Note.
thought.
So
Nice.
yeah, but
And it was
What was up with the
it was
lips?
immensely
she
popular.
just has. Let me show
the
you.
way they draw her. She's kind of like all the time, but like
If you guys can't see that, yeah, he just did a duck face
look
at
at
us.
this.
we got a camera.
Look at this
Oh
fucking.
my
Why did
God.
they do this?
Wait, I want to see.
Oh my god.
She's amazing.
Why?
I can't move the laptop.
Josh,
Just
make
look.
sure you
That's a
like
woman?
throw a picture
That-
of
Yeah,
this. in
yeah.
there.
I'm gonna have to remember
She
that.
looks like a woman. You just have a bad angle.
Oh, okay, there. I did have a bad angle.
Sachiko. And she's ageless. She's age 52.
Yeah, and then they go
She's
back
so
in time and she's
beautiful.
like still 52 or whatever.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
Are you talking about her?
Yeah, that
Yes.
one.
Yep.
That's her.
Literally the same picture.
Jeez.
That's,
Yeah.
it's right there.
She's an Anna MILF.
I'm gonna bring this up to the...
Name of the episode.
We can edit it in.
Yeah, we just like we had the capability to do that.
Okay, you guys are like, you're really bad at this whole segment. What I'm trying to go
fuck you.
for is the best side bitch of all of them.
The best side bitch of all of them, Uncle Iroh.
Sokka.
Whoa, we did the same
Sokka
anime.
from
Or
Avatar.
I said Uncle Iroh.
Okay,
We're talking about anime, Billy.
See, hold
Hold on, that's a segment for later. Uncle Iroh.
Hold on. See, here's my thing with Sokka. So Uncle Iroh has powers.
Iroh, not Arrow.
Uncle Iroh has powers, and he just chooses not to use them all the time. But like he has them, and he uses them to his own advantages. Sokka, powerless, hanging out with two of the main characters who are both high level powered, and they end up getting married. He's just third wheeling it the entire time. So like,
Wait, are you asking like who's
Wait,
just the most
who ends up
extreme
getting
third
married?
wheel?
married.
Are you asking? Wait, is your question really who's the
mind.
biggest third wheel? Is that what it is?
That could be a good
I feel
Okay,
interpretation.
like
Uncle Iroh's not a third wheel. We know
like
that.
you misunderstood
He's
the
bitching.
question, but we'll ignore it.
Okay,
this
third
time.
wheel. Oh man, third wheel that changes things.
Biggest cuck.
Yeah, Sokka's pretty good. Like any male friend in any anime ever.
Yeah.
Krillin maybe.
Krillin's a great answer. Yeah.
Oh,
That's exactly who I had in mind.
He dies all the
Like,
time.
Yeah. He just gets blown away all the time. And like when he does die, they're like, ah, fuck. They got him.
He's dead again? Okay.
Is he like Kenny in South Park?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was about to
Yeah.
bring up Kenny.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so I guess
yeah.
sidecast. Do you guys
So-
have any powerful side bitches you want to bring up?
No, he says ignore
How
it.
about you, Andrew?
My powerful side character
I don't
is
know-
Tyler.
I don't know enough side hoes yet. So.
All right, okay. So I guess
Great
on
bit,
to
Billy.
the fucking main.
Oh yeah. That's
Segment.
me. That's me. Okay. Our main topic, which I didn't I didn't say in the intro, is what sets anime apart.
Nice silence.
Okay, there's.
Staring at Dan.
Is it just that?
No,
Like,
no,
do you
yeah.
have subtopics?
what-
Like,
What makes
don't know.
anime different? What sets it apart?
What makes it anime?
What makes anime? That was the original title. We should have probably stuck with that.
okay, so
We didn't even
whatever.
intro the title, so it doesn't matter.
I'm just
what
gonna
it
go
is.
ahead and solve your little problem for you. Does stuff like Avatar: The Last Airbender count as anime because it's animated, or does it have to be made in Japan? Does
Yes.
it have to have a Japanese animation focus?
Well,
Let us vote before we discuss. Billy, what do you think? Yes or no? Is it
Avatar
anime?
anime? I say it is.
Your opinion's kind of limited, but go ahead and say. It.
Invalid.
Do you think Avatar: The
Invalid
Last
opinion.
Airbender is an anime? Have you seen it? And do you know what it is?
Maybe.
Okay.
What a half-assed answer.
Dude, I don't know. I watched like 2
Straddle.
seasons of it. And
I would say yes, personally.
I'll take the contrarian on this and say no.
And Patch?
Fuck you. Yes, of course it's anime.
Tyler, yes or no?
It depends on whose view you're going off of.
Sounds like a.
Japan,
that's
Your view.
That's more half-assed answer than me.
It's your view.
That's fair.
I think it is.
Okay. Andrew,
Andrew's dead.
is Avatar an anime? Yes or no?
It's animation, so yes, it's anime.
Okay.
Boom.
Boom. The literal route.
All right. Do we want to start with the contrary on this?
Yeah, let me hear your. I've heard it all before, but let's hear this bullshit reason.
Keep in mind, this is just for conversation. I think it's anime, but
You sell out.
Jesus.
You saw that everyone else voted yes, didn't you? And you just wanted to fit in.
So I messaged one of my friends, and he has a pretty strong view on this. He said it's not anime because it's inspired by Japanese culture, but it's inspired by Japanese culture, but it's not based in like Japanese tradition. It's actually a lot of Chinese culture and Chinese architecture. So you have the bad guy group, the Dai Li. Those guys are Chinese.
Well, Attack on Titan is entirely Germanic. Like, everything about that show just reeks
and then
of
there's Code
Berlin and
Geass.
Austria.
Code Geass is in England.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Tell
So-
your friend to eat a dick.
So he's saying that it's an American cartoon that's looking at Asian culture through like an American looking lens. Let's see. He goes on to say, let's see.
Isn't it made by a Korean animation studio?
Yeah, so
It was-
it was created here by
Yeah, with, like,
American,
American
people,
writers.
and then they had like
People in Korea do the animation
like
or something.
culture fucking what are they called, like contractors,
Specialists?
like specialists, yeah,
Yeah.
to like
Yeah, the studio that
Appropriated.
the
to
Korean,
appropriate it. Yeah.
the Korean studio that did is called DR Movie. They've done work on Cowboy Bebop, Princess Mononoke, Bleach, amongst
Which are all
It's very
anime.
much
See?
anime.
yeah.
See, it's animated by people who animate anime. So,
So
Family
in
Guy
that-
animated
that-
by a bunch of like in Korea too.
what'd you say?
I think Family Guy sends all their animation over to Korea too.
Well,
Don't
because
talk about Family Guy on my
Korea's-
fucking.
I'm just saying, like,
getting
So-
work done.
So in regards
Yeah.
to the animation point, he says, I don't feel that animation studios are a good argument at all because the direction and character design was determined by Nickelodeon and the decision makers of the show. It's like saying just because an Asian guy did the drawings means it's an anime, but leaving out the fact that he's a fifth generation American.
Okay, so going off of that, if, like, let's say, for instance, if an animation studio wanted to pick up the book series Harry Potter or something like that, and they made an anime that was Harry Potter, would that be anime, or would that be...
Little Witch Academia.
That'd be great.
No, but yes. But so, would that be...
If it was
what
If
about
it
the
was-
Castlevania anime?
Netflix original animes.
Who made Castlevania? Was that a Japanese company?
I don't know, dude. It's
See,
on
yeah, that's
Netflix
the thing.
and it's an anime.
It's actually
and
really
it's
based
based
off
off an American
of
video game.
Yeah, it's
Thank
based
you
off
for
an
your
American
half
video.
knowledge, Dan.
Actually,
yeah.
Always
I
appreciate it.
think
I'm trying to add some kind of.
It's actually a very good show. Like,
It is. I watched
was-
the
I've only
really
seen
good.
the
which was
first
5
season.
episodes. I need to watch the second one.
Yeah. I think Castlevania was made in Japan. Was that
Sorry for the
Konami?
chair
It
squeak.
might have been Konami, but whatever. So sorry, I forgot your question. Fuck.
I have a
Harry
good
Potter
question.
the anime.
Sorry.
If Harry Potter was made in the style, but that's going back to like the animation point.
Because that's a British or a westernized idea that would then be entirely handled by an animation studio or something in Japan, like, so would it count? And it looks like you've got a point to make.
I've got a question,
Yeah.
a counter question to
A
to help us
counter-question.
narrow this down. What is each of our opinions? What defines anime for like different from a cartoon? Like, so Billy, what makes anime different than a cartoon?
For me personally, it's more so a Western stylization versus a Eastern stylization. If you wanted to make a cartoon, like a Western cartoon, you call it a cartoon. If we decide we were going to make a anime, we would, for all intents and purposes, call it an anime, even though we're a bunch of mostly white dudes, and I feel like we would just call it an anime, even
Yeah,
though
'cause it's
we're making
mostly-
it here.
Inspired by Eastern tradition and
Yeah.
traits
Eastern
and stuff.
entertainment
Yeah,
Yeah.
as
it's all
well.
based. It's from that. Might as well just call it what it is.
Right.
Dan, do you want to answer the question or do you want to be passed since you're pretty new to it?
What
I feel like it'd be
think
really
animation
interesting to
is.
hear your opinion.
I don't know, the art style, the storytelling. I feel like the storytelling is always a little bit different. They
If it's heavily influenced by like Japanese culture versus something
Yeah,
else,
it's
you mean?
much more grander and broader story arcs. It's a much more it's a long haul usually than just kind of bite-sized episodes.
Yeah, you
that
can't really
are
look at
just
like
stand-off.
SpongeBob and say that it's
Yeah.
a grand story with overarching plots. It's
Right.
just like an episode to episode.
Or Family Guy or any of those other.
You can't really call that
shows.
one even a real show.
I would say for me, I feel like the difference between a cartoon and an anime is a cartoon's going to have more abstract or surreal proportions, where an anime is going to have more somewhat realistic proportions compared to a cartoon.
By proportions.
By
do you
proportions,
mean
I mean
by proportions.
Yes, anime like not anime proportions. I mean,
Like
yeah, body
eyeballs and
proportions.
boobs. Like,
So okay, like
Interesting that you think.
have you seen Quagmire's chin?
yeah.
Would you see that in
Yeah.
anime? You could actually. Yeah, there's some animes that have chins like that, but like
Yeah, Ball Chin Boy from.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
well, like,
You don't really see that ever.
it's very
you know, after
exaggerated.
that.
It is
Everything.
incredibly exaggerated in
Yeah.
cartoons. I feel like cartoons have more exaggerations of features than an anime would have more. They're sticking closer to a structure of an art style for the entire show.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I see what you're kind of getting at. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay,
That's like
alright,
my best.
okay, alright.
That's my best pitch at it.
For me, going beyond the art style and the way it's drawn, I think a lot of the humor defines what anime is. Like what we see in American entertainment, it's been influenced by like British like dry humor and stuff like that. All
Like Monty Python stuff. Yep.
Yeah,
Dick
thank you,
jokes.
Monty Python. Genius, but
Dick jokes.
and dick jokes, a lot of dick jokes now. Whereas like Japanese humor is really like intense and like there's something about like the ridiculousness of a certain situation that like is inherently funny to the culture, and I think that not like completely defines anime, but I think that's a big characteristic of how we perceive it to be anime. So take a show like Bo 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 Bo. That show is insane, and if you listen to the dub, it's like you're trying. Like I'm pretty sure, I don't know what the voice actors were doing, but it sounded like they were just kind of going at it with however they wanted, and
Sounds like Ghost Stories.
yeah.
Bad show, by the way. Like, funny but bad show.
Well,
Same thing for Bo 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 Bo.
great show. Great
I love
plot.
Bo 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 Bo, but it's ridiculous. And it's a lot of that show. Like I think you have to have like a Japanese like context with the humor that they throw in there.
To really understand it from, like,
Yeah.
to really get it right away.
Yeah.
So, like, you're saying that your average Westerner would show up and be like, what is this? And
Yeah,
then
it's like,
a
what?
Japanese person would be like, oh, yeah, this anime.
Yeah. Yeah. Pretty much.
Yeah. Thoughts? Opinions?
Yeah, Patch,
Was there any other arguments made by your friend against like things like Avatar being considered anime?
What about Ruby? Did he ever go on to Ruby?
I didn't ask him about Ruby.
Oh.
He hates Ruby. I forgot to ask him about that. Let's see. He says references to culture, history, and pop culture are distinctly Japanese. These can be in-your-face references meant to be recognized by audiences familiar with them, as well as subtle details in the design and backdrops and camera shots of the show. Given the broad nature and references to multiple Asian cultures, I think it would be even more apt to call Avatar an American's take on Asian culture while using anime influences as its medium.
This guy sounds like a big nerd. It's like he's ripping off a Wikipedia article.
He's a super nerd.
Well, it sounds like that definition is just way too limiting, and also
I'll go back in the truck.
Yeah, I
It's
feel
Too
like
powerful.
well,
Unlimited resource.
it takes
just
some
put-
actual Japanese animes, and if we follow Josh's friend's definition of anime, that was very limiting. That already disqualifies authentic, quote unquote, authentic animes from Japan, because there are some Japanese animes, like Billy pointed out, Attack on Titan, that aren't rooted in
Japanese culture? Like
Yeah,
Japanese
it's
culture
Germanic.
Or Japan.
Germanic style.
Yeah.
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 So, I guess Attack on Titan then isn't anime
And then
According to this definition.
according to this definition.
some some animes have like no culture, like Flip Flappers. It's like, what the hell even is
I
that
don't know
about?
about
It's like
that
an experiment in animation.
Yeah, essentially, yeah. So it's not really any kind of culture, I don't think, other than the fact that it was made technically as an anime. Like I don't even know if the characters are from Japan, but they don't.
Right.
They go to like other dimensions and stuff.
Yeah.
that are all entirely up to the artist's creative mind for the most part.
Yeah, and there's a lot of anime that aren't really based in Japan.
Yeah.
Like
Cowboy Bebop is about space.
Yeah.
Like,
And then you got something like Panty and Stocking with Garter Belt, and that's not even an anime like animation style, and that's made in Japan, and it's fucking ludicrous.
is that one of those like 3-minute segment shows?
No, I think it's a full length one.
Explain how you mean that it's not anime style.
So let me just show you a picture of Panty and Stocking versus Garter. But yeah, it is not using the traditional anime style at all. Look at this shit.
Oh,
That
it
looks like Powerpuff.
yeah, it
Girls.
looks like Powerpuff Girls.
Yeah,
yeah, you should-
and also but porn version.
Well,
Okay.
nice.
We're back.
Which
moving
show is
on
this?
from
Hold on,
that.
I'm writing it down.
from an outsider, or not an outsider, from a noob's perspective, things like Avatar looks and feels like anime.
Yeah.
Call that an anime.
Yeah,
But what do you guys think about Ruby, which is
that has less of a feel of anime because it's not traditional style animation. 'cause
Ruby-
they use a lot of 3D.
I would disagree. I feel like it feels more like anime versus Avatar because
Oh,
it's
yeah?
got like more of the typical features, which would be like the pointy chin, kind of like template face. Of course, it is like 3D as well. So
When I first
Cheesy
saw
voice
Ruby,
acting.
and they get the chibi like faces in there too occasionally.
when I first saw Ruby, I definitely thought it was like an American show, but with anime characters. For the like, it just felt like an American show. The way it progressed around, and I didn't watch it for very long. Full
I
disclosure,
watched like 3 or
but-
4 seasons.
Yeah.
I watched Avatar for less, so yeah, just automatically disregard my opinion.
By the time they got to Legend of Korra, had they achieved anime status? Does anyone think? Like,
I don't know.
yeah,
I
they're
liked Korra.
all good shows, but
Yeah,
for me, it comes down to if it feels like anime, it's anime,
yeah, I agree.
and if it feels like a westernized cartoon, then it's a cartoon. Yeah.
Yeah.
So another topic that we wanted to address was kid shows versus adult shows, because cartoons in Western culture, probably the raunchiest it's going to get is something like Archer or maybe Family Guy,
South Park.
which the thing about South Park and Family Guy and American Dad and all of those shows made by him, they are adult, but they feel very childish when you watch them sometimes.
Yeah.
Whereas Archer is the only one that like feels like, okay, this is like a big kid show.
Yeah, that's an adult show.
And anime, there can be stuff that's like, oh yeah, this is made for like 13-year-olds, and like it's childish, but like they have some adult themes in them for sure.
Yeah.
Like they really push the limit on what they can call like a kid show or one meant for like school age children, essentially.
Japan likes to put like crazy ass shit in their kids shows.
Yeah, there's some heavy-handed themes, and so them like Konosuba show that I personally love. That's directed towards like, you know, people who are like fresh into high school, fresh into college, and there are some very heavy-handed anime tropes in there with lolly-esque characters, which are essentially characters that appear much younger than they actually are, much younger than they actually are, and there's just a lot of stuff in that same kind of vein where it's very sexualized, very provocative characters, and then it's like, who's our market? Oh yeah, 14-year-olds. So,
Yeah.
whereas Family Guy does not do stuff like that.
Yeah.
They don't, like Quagmire is a ladies' man, but they don't like go so far into it other than his regular giggity stuff.
Right.
Yeah.
Do you think that's just limitations of just the culture? Like, just how Japan.
Yeah, what Western culture is even
So-
like a serious cartoon.
I feel like for a westernized show to get approved, it does have to go through a lot more networking stuff. Like, it's under the thumb of a couple hundred different things, because you gotta think about, like, what's who does this represent as the channel? Who does this represent as the network? Who does this represent from our audience? And, like, so they have to go through all these different career paths. Whereas a anime studio is often smaller, and it's a lot more compartmentalized to its own individual building. And so because of that, maybe they're able to be like, okay, here's our manga that's already really popular and everyone's liking it, so we should probably make a show to help sell the manga a little bit better, sell the light novels. So because of that, I think that the manga can be kind of trashy and really fun, but then they get approval a lot easier to make a show following that specific light novel.
Yeah.
Right.
Whereas, like, a cartoon, you're coming in with a fresh idea, and you're like, and then there's this neighbor who just bangs all the ladies in the entire neighborhood, and they're like, hold on, go back. How much is this going to entail? And they're like, oh, not too much, but, like, you know that he's doing it, but essentially you don't, like, see any of his shenanigans too much. You just know that he's going for it. Whereas in anime, there's scenes that, like, a character will fall and they'll land and grab the female lady's
Titty.
Breastises.
her breastises, yeah, and there'll be, like, a definite, like, couple squeezes in there where there'll be a definite couple surefire grips in there that are not. You're not tricking anybody with, like, there's
Call
no
the Me Too
cinematography in there that's going to make it appear okay.
Alright.
Like, it's happening.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, he's right. You didn't have to phrase it like that.
That's one of the best things I can think of. Like, that
Best
happens in
thing?
so many different shows. Like, best example of where, like, not only are the characters much more sexualized, they take advantage of that pervasiveness and that sexuality to actually sell the light novel and to sell the show much more than, like, Family Guy could ever come up with. And, like, when South Park will, like, show a boob in a couple episodes or something, it's, like, entirely shock value. Like, the one I can think of is when they show Mr. Garrison's turned into Mrs. Garrison's
Oh yeah.
naked chest, and it was, like, horrific and, like, terrifying. Like, it was shock value. They weren't going for anything other than that.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah.
So, what do you guys think about adult versus kid shows, essentially? Or did you have something to go off of that?
I just wanted to ask, are there any, like, serious animated shows in Western culture? Or are most cartoons just all comedies?
Yeah, that's a good.
See, that's
Because there's, like, serious animes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
But I can't think off the top of my head, like, a serious cartoon show in Western culture that...
BoJack Horseman.
Yeah.
BoJack Horseman's a really
so-
good example of
Okay,
one.
that is serious. It is meant
Isn't
to be
that supposed to
comedy,
be,
but like
It's
comedy?
comedy, but it's dry comedy, and it's like it's more about depression
Also,
and like living with it and stuff.
older
Yeah.
shows
Like you don't
have-
go. Oh, sorry.
Oh.
If you like it, it's you don't stay because it's funny. You stay because it's relatable and it hits on like super deep points in your life and like things that everyone feels, like a depression and just feeling like you don't matter and stuff like that. Like it's like I don't know. I feel like BoJack Horseman's actually like probably one of the first Western cartoons to do that, which is
To be
why
that
it's so
serious.
controversial. Why people like are either they hate it or love it. You know.
BoJack Horseman still is very funny in a lot of moments.
Oh, yeah,
though,
definitely
and
is.
They have an excellent balance of serious.
But so are
versus
some
comedy.
serious animes as well.
yeah.
Right.
One thing that I'd like to mention for serious Western culture cartoons, a lot of older cartoons, now when you look back at them, they might be like so camp and bad that they are hilarious and goofy now. But like if you look back at like He-Man and stuff like that and Thundercats, like it was
Okay,
very
yeah.
serious at the time. Like it was not meant to be like a comedy. It was like more of an action-oriented show, but like there was also like very little comedy element to it. So that might be an example.
What, like all the superhero
Yeah,
shows?
but there aren't two. BoJack Horseman is probably the first like slice of life Western cartoon that there has been, at
Yeah.
least in the very long time that I've ever encountered.
Yeah. there have been there was Justice League Unlimited. That was like kind of more of a serious cartoon, but that was aimed for kids. That was like an action cartoon.
Yeah.
There wasn't that much comedy in
Guys,
Right.
Justice
Dora
League.
the Explorer. That wasn't meant to be funny at
Entirely
all.
serious.
Yeah. Yeah. As far as adult and kid entertainment, I don't know. Like, because the only things in the West I can think of are kind of serious, have flavors of comedy in it. Archer.
Flavors.
Archer's a great like spy show.
Yeah.
That's still going.
I think like a lot of us, or well, America in particular, has been conditioned. Like if they see a cartoon, it's supposed to be funny in their heads, you know?
And it's
Yeah.
supposed to be for
Yeah.
kids.
Right.
Yeah.
Or well, I don't know. Like there's political cartoons too, so like that's their little leadway there and stuff like
Yeah.
that. But like they're like, yeah, it's supposed to be funny or it's supposed to be for kids.
Well, again, as we said earlier, a lot of Western television has been heavily influenced by shows like Monty Python, and because of that, a lot of our culture revolves around like skit comedy.
Yeah.
And so then the next logical abomination would be Family Guy, where it's essentially skit comedy with a loose overarching theme, bringing it all together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like episodic.
Here-
and, like they go, really, it was like this one
Remember
time.
that time we fought the Chicken Man? And like, yeah.
Here's
Let's
a
do that
question.
again.
Because as a kid, I wouldn't have, but as an adult, I would now. Would you consider Pokemon an anime? The show.
See, that's the thing. That's a kid's cartoon for me. Like
Yeah.
Digimon,
'Cause
Pokemon.
I watched it as a kid.
Yu-Gi-Oh!
so-
If I were to see it in Japanese, maybe I would consider it more anime. But in
Well, it
English,
is under the anime tab on Netflix.
ooh, okay, so there we go.
No, he's got us.
Final
Yeah,
decider.
Netflix is all.
We're in the corner here.
There you go.
Netflix decided Digimon,
But-
Yu-Gi-Oh, and Pokemon are all anime.
So is the Halo TV series.
Yeah,
That wasn't a
because
TV series, and there was some.
That was like webisodes, pretty much, that they just
Yeah, they were
stole
just
from
like
Netflix.
little bite-sized vignettes.
Yeah.
And I saw a couple of those, and some of those seemed anime style. There was like one or two that were like, okay, this is.
Some of them, like there's one
Other
about
ones were
elites.
just CGI. Yeah.
There's one
The
Halo
Elites
short
one, I
about
was
elites
thinking-
where it's like,
Yeah,
this is
that's anime.
Japan, and
Yeah.
they were definitely trying to do anime. Other ones were like, okay, this is Halo. We don't know what to call it, but we're calling it a Halo short.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so I feel like Netflix definitely like
The Halo
broad
Legends.
strokes categorizes stuff, because it's like when you look at Netflix's title selection, it's just like, do you want action or adventure? And like that, pretty much everything in the entire Netflix universe will fit under those two categories.
Yeah.
If it's not drama, that's probably the only other thing. It's like action, adventure, drama, and that's pretty much Western
Comedy.
society for the most part. Yeah, comedy too. And
How is adventure not action anyway?
because there's action adventure. Duh. Like
Then which one do you look under?
all of them.
These are the serious questions, Billy.
Yeah.
Well,
We'll go
then
back
what
to
was
the
Dragon
Netflix
Ball
podcast.
Z? Because I feel like that was always on around the same time.
Okay,
Ooh,
so
yeah.
I
as
actually
Digimon and Pokemon and
used to describe things as Toonami. Like it wasn't so much a channel; it was
That's
just
a
a
good point.
section. It was like a cross section of westernized anime for me. Like all the shows that are on Adult Swim now, I still consider like in my heart's heart a Toonami show, whatever that means. It was just something that was like meant to come on TV, so like you could watch it and not be like made fun of by your parents or whatever. And like it was very popular in America, but it was definitely anime kind of.
Yeah,
but
I feel like
it
it's
wasn't
kind
a
of-
cartoon.
It's like a hybrid.
Yeah.
Where it was originally an anime, and we kind of, what's that word?
integrate.
Bridge.
Bring them together.
Bridge.
No,
Appropriate.
Appropriated. That was the word I was looking for.
But then as we were saying, there is shows like Pokemon and Digimon where they were like almost like Saturday morning kids cartoons that I wouldn't slot into my
Yeah, but
internal Toonami section.
I would.
There was still a lot of tropes. I feel like that were in those shows.
Definitely.
Oh, definitely.
Like the exaggerated emotions sometimes. Like if somebody's
Yeah.
embarrassed, there's like the sweat, the really
then-
big
Yeah.
Yeah.
When
sweat
someone
drop that
gets
comes.
mad and it does a zoom in on
Yeah,
the face,
and
and,
they're
there's
just
like the person they're mad at is like
Right.
animated all tiny, like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
To me, is very anime.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's
Which
all
is
over
why
those
I
shows.
would classify them at least as like a hybrid,
Mm-hmm.
if not a full anime.
Okay, how do you feel about Beyblades?
Beyblades is the greatest show on earth, and how dare you?
Wasn't that the show that you guys would always have to watch an episode of every time you finished another anime?
Side story for the audience. So basically, every time we like to watch most of our animes as a group. That's how we kind of peer pressured each other to get into anime. We'd watch it together.
Billy and I, yeah.
Every time we would finish a show, and if anyone else finished a show with us, they would have to jump in wherever we were. But anytime we finished a show, we would have to watch one episode of the Beyblades. I forget what
Abomination.
I forget
Beyblade
what
Metal Fusion.
That was it. Yeah,
that was on Netflix.
One episode of it, and they were just so not good.
Yeah, I don't know why we did that, because that kind of like
push people away, probably.
Yeah, it made us like, oh, we don't want to finish a show because now we have to torture ourselves.
We started falling off a lot of shows because of it,
which is why we haven't watched anything together for a while.
What is the Tyler made me watch the first episode after finishing Attack on Titan.
What did you think?
I think maybe that's why I didn't jump on anything after that for a while.
Tyler, did you ever watch any more of the Beyblade show?
I watched like 5-6 episodes.
Did it stay pretty much just as...
Yeah, it's
just as weird? Yeah. It's, I don't even know how to describe how bad it is. It's just bad.
Yeah. You just have to watch it.
There's not even anything you can really make fun of it for. It's like, it's not that bad where it's funny.
Yeah, it's not camp.
So cringy and painful to get through. It's so bad.
I kind of the bull guy. I really want to watch this show now.
You don't. The next time we finish a show, we can definitely pop in somewhere. I think we're on episode like 35 or something.
No, we're on episode like 8 or 9.
Should we start watching a show as a cast?
I think that'd be fun.
That'd be a good idea.
Yeah.
We had talked about that. Our React series, where we just stream an entire show.
I'm not doing fucking reactions.
He did a punch.
Okay.
One of them.
The thing is about reaction videos now is I watched a reaction video of someone like playing a cover of this artist song, and then like they put a reaction of the reaction of the reaction, and I was like, what the fuck are we doing, guys?
Jax Films, one of my old school favorite YouTubers. He's been up since like the beginning pretty much. He like tears people down because there was this one dude who was just streaming entire episodes of his own content and doing like a reaction to it, like, and it was 100% of the video, no like clip into it like a Fine Bros video where like they'll show bits of it and have reactions to it and like cut between them. This was just, here's an entire Jax Films video with someone in the corner being like, It's pretty good. And so Jax Films took that video and put himself in the other corner watching the other guy. Then one of them was just like, don't steal my fucking content. But, yeah.
Dude, that's great.
That's like I think that has influenced a lot of like Western entertainment now too, is those kinds of reaction videos, Vines, like that's kind of fueled our just need for this.
See, again, it's a quicker
episodic
version of skit comedy. Instead of being a whole episode, it's like, let's get this down to 7 seconds, one and done.
Yeah.
We had a person from our high school who got Vine famous for a while. Danny Gonzalez. I don't know what his Vine name was, but like
it was Danny Gonzalez.
Okay,
nice.
Yeah, he had a couple big videos come out on
Shout
Vine
out to
before it
Danny.
got.
We should
really funny.
invite him to like the podcast.
Whoa.
Dude. Yeah, it's like short episodic things. So like, I think one big thing that sets apart anime is just the consistency. Like there's just the overarching narratives, and all that jazz.
Even with like Western like shows that have longer plots to them or overall plots, every episode is like kind of pitched as there's a mini plot for that episode,
Right.
which kind of just shows how like fast paced Westerners are.
The problem is also,
Or just short attention spans.
Yeah. I was gonna say that. Yeah.
when a Westernized show gets really long, there's shows like The Sopranos, which were fantastic the entire way through because they were planning on making it a really long show. Then there's shows like The Walking Dead, where who knew how long zombies were going to be popular, but they're going to drag it out. Mm-hmm. And so that's the problem with like, something that it wasn't a skit show, but like it wasn't, I don't think it was slated to last a very long time, and then they made it last a very long
And then
time.
they-
Like when Shane,
Bear with me, they turned it into a zombie.
yeah,
Brought it back to
Hey,
life.
when Shane, I don't know if any of you guys have ever read the comic books, but
Fuck
my
no.
banjo
Always spoiling
instructor.
everything.
Oh yeah, fuck it. That show's super old. But my banjo instructor read all of the comic books for Walking Dead, and you know when they eventually have to kill Shane, that happened in like the second comic, because they're like, "You've been sleeping with my wife," and so they drag that into like the end of the second season and stuff.
Yeah.
So there's just, when Western cultures typically drag something out, it feels dragged out. Whereas in
Yeah.
anime, they can control overarching plots and subplots a lot better, I feel like.
well, I think
Except for filler episodes.
yeah,
Filler
yeah,
episodes
I mean,
do
filler
exist.
episodes are kind of their way of dragging things out.
Yeah,
But like when
you
they
can
have
view-
good episodes, they typically
Are good
have
episodes.
good fucking plot development.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Plot episodes are great. You can view those fillers as just world building. What I was gonna say before was something like Breaking Bad, though. Like that is like has like this quiet excitement to it,
Yeah.
like the entire time, and that might just be the exception, not the rule. But there's just something about Breaking Bad. You're just kind of seeing it all unfold, like from the outside perspective.
Yeah, I think Stranger Things is doing that pretty well too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think with Breaking Bad, what makes it so interesting, even though it is quiet, it's definitely fish out of the water or bowl, whatever it's called.
Fish out of the bowl.
Yeah, is
Fish
that?
out of water.
Yeah, okay, it's fish out of
yeah.
water.
Oh, I thought
Kinda
you
like
said
concept.
bowl, not bowl.
Fish
Like
out of the
bowl,
bowl.
Fish out of the
like
bowl?
Bowl,
BOWL. Oh,
Like a
Yeah, I got that guy in my head. It's a character from Beyblade.
Yeah, he's the greatest character from Beyblades. ever.
Anyway, fish out of the bowl.
fish out of the water. Yeah,
Whatever.
yeah. That's kind of like, I feel like that might be what the real drive for that is, because like no one really, people who watch Breaking Bad. I mean, I'm sure there's a lot of people who do meth who watch it, but but most people I feel like don't do meth, so it's a different world, you know. And like you're following this character that is going into this different world completely clueless, basically. But well, except for some things. But yeah.
Yeah, another
I
thing
know
about-
how to make.
I think why those shows work is that the creators knew from the start pretty much where it was going to go and how it was going to end. They had a plan the entire time. And the shows who don't, that's where you can tell it's like they don't know where this is going. Especially like Lost, they even admit, yeah, I didn't know what was going to go on in the
Yeah,
The writers go on strike. And,
You see-
like,
Yeah, but like the people who made Stranger Things, they know exactly
Yeah.
how long it's going to last. We're not going to stretch
Well, we
this out.
can't-
We're not going to force this into 8 seasons. It's
Okay,
going to
yeah.
be like 4, maybe, I think they said.
okay.
Because I was gonna say we can't judge Stranger Things too far yet because it's still only
No,
has
the
2
creators said
seasons.
that it's not going to be. It's going to be like a Breaking Bad, where it's like done in 4 or 5 seasons
Yeah.
and out. That's all we have to tell.
That's why I love animes that are like 20 episodes
Yeah.
because like they can, if they know that they're not going to get any more, either it's going to end with a terrible ending because they're like read the manga, or it's going to just be a very nice succinct story and it's going to wrap up really well.
Yeah.
And there's pretty much no in between on that. Or
Yeah.
it's like
You either got Dead Man Wonderland.
yeah, Dead
or
Man Wonderland,
fucking-
where they're like, ooh, I guess we thought we were going to have 5 more episodes. We only have 2, so they had to kind of ratchet an ending into
Didn't
there real
even
quick.
have like a fake ending. It was
No, there
they
was
just
like
cut it
a
off.
little conclusion where they're like, okay, the big bad guy is like kind of out of the picture, and then like the show just trails off there.
yeah.
Like,
They never
it's-
even did the big reveal. Like my friend read the manga. He's like, this ends really like it's really cool, but they just didn't do anything
Yeah.
with it.
And they didn't like say you should read the manga either.
And I
They
was-
were like,
Man,
they just dropped it.
such a
Yeah.
good show too.
Same thing kind of happened with Evangelion when it was first coming out in the 90s. I think the story goes they basically just ran out of money for the end of the episode, so they just like had this like horrible like trippy nightmare as a
The
like,
writers ran
last
out of
episode.
cocaine in the studio. Are we still doing this?
Alright, well, we should probably start wrapping up.
Yeah, for sure. So we should do our final analization, as we call it, because Dan doesn't know the word analysis.
I forgot about that word.
Analyzation is a real word.
So what sets anime apart?
the feeling of anime.
Well, if you're gonna be super limiting, it has to be everything Japanese.
Yeah.
Nothing else.
Everything anime.
Everything's
Everything is everything. All right. Yeah, that's pretty good.
Yeah, just
Yeah.
everything Japanese.
Yeah,
That's
everything.
it.
So
Everything's
was Avatar anime though?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
anime.
I call
Golly.
it anime.
Golly
It
gee.
feels like anime when I watch it. To me, it's anime.
I'm
Yeah.
pretty sure people in Japan would agree that it's anime. Because
Well, they say everything's
that's
anime.
That's just
Yeah,
their word
but
for.
that's,
They're
that's
like-
just their culture.
like it's
as
cartoon,
far
right?
as American culture is concerned, like it is still pretty divisive. I think.
Yeah.
Like I said, I think it's anime.
Yeah, leave
but-
it up to Americans to develop an elitist mentality over
Yeah,
it.
we're too-
That's not even there.
Too snobby.
America.
Yeah,
All right.
but
Uh.
yeah, I think
I
Billy
bet
put
you-
it best is if it feels like anime, it's anime.
Yeah.
I bet you that Disney started like a rumor saying like it's not real anime to try and get people to not watch anime to be like watch our cartoons.
Yeah.
They're not even. They've given up on cartoons. They're just doing live action
They're
reboots
just
of
trying to-
everything.
Trying to make sure Walt Disney's head stays frozen.
All right.
All right.
Do you want to do our 10-second plug
All right.
segment?
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I still can't participate, but you know.
You can
got
do one.
show. Yeah.
got
I
one?
can do One Punch Man.
Yeah. Do that right now.
Yeah.
Do it on the
Uh,
spot.
so this guy beats everything in one punch, so he becomes really apathetic, and now he's trying to find ways to reignite that spark, and it's really funny.
Holy shit! That sounds like an
He does
awesome
that shit.
show. That sounds like an awesome show.
You should watch that as your
Josh,
first one.
What? Kill La Kill. It's about this clothes that attach to this chick and she gets superpowers.
Nice, like Doctor
Billy.
Strange.
Okay, so it's called Space Brothers or Uchikaibo, but it's basically it's about one brother is an astronaut and the other brother just got into astronaut school, and it's his journey about becoming an astronaut, and it's really cool because I like space.
Cool. And
Satan starts working at McDonald's. It's called Satan or the Devil's a part-timer.
That was one of my first animes. What's it about? Oh, yeah, you said it, never mind.
Satan starts working at McDonald's. What else do you want?
don't ask me it. Don't ask me it.
All right.
Oh, Patrick.
Patrick.
Oh God. Silver Spoon is about a kid who just wants to go to high school away from his hometown. But he goes to agriculture school and he learns all about farming and shit. And they eat really delicious looking food, and it makes me hungry.
Okay. So that's pretty much it for the Weebing podcast.
Yeah,
I'd like to
yeah.
definitely say check out our YouTube channel. We've got an Instagram up. We've got a Facebook page. We're really actually making this happen. So, Patrick, do you have a sign off you'd like to do?
I like to sign off by saying, Mom, if you listen this far, I'm sorry. And no, that's it. I got nothing.
Anyhow, so my funeral will be next month. Bring your own beer.
Thanks for listening, everyone.
Yeah,
See
thanks.
ya.
See you. Bye.
Bye.